Hey guys, Ben here. I believe this is the most important thing that every single meditation practitioner or truth seeker should watch. Everyone needs to understand this inner component to themselves in order to progress and access higher levels, higher planes, and ultimately get to the next level of their spiritual and personal growth. If you don't understand this lower self, this inner enemy, it will overcome you. It will get in the way of your progress. It will get in the way of your meditations. It will create lots of resistance, lots of hurdles, lots of tricks within yourself and around you to stop you progressing. It's absolutely essential that you understand this part of yourself and how to overcome it. So in today's video, I explain all of that. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. So to start with, many people give up very early on with meditation and they don't realize why they're having certain difficulties, certain resistances are appearing when they're meditating. They just think that they're really bad at it and they can't do it. But what you have to remember is that you have to come back to the very basic principle of why are you meditating? And for most people that watch this channel, you are spiritual seekers. You're people that have got an inkling that there's more, and you've got an interest that there's more. Some of you might even know that there's more. You might have had experiences, mystical experiences, and some of you won't have, and that is normal. And for whatever reason, part of you has drawn you to channels like this and to meditation in order to understand more and go deeper. And what you're actually seeking, whether you know this consciously or not, is ultimately yourself. Some people would call that the divine or God. You're ultimately seeking the divine. There is a part of you that yearns to get back to the source from which it came. So on the deepest level, that's what you're trying to do. Meditation is the tool to do that, or a tool to do that, because meditation is a bit like a key. It turns the mind away from the world and into your internal consciousness, your internal world, you could say. And it allows then this blossoming to take place. It allows more consciousness in. It allows you to greater and greater degrees connect and experience more of the divine, more ultimately of yourself. So meditation is really a key. Turns you away from the world, allows this divine light to start to flow more freely into yourself. And there's obviously many other things to meditation, but fundamentally, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to experience more of the divine, and it is an experience. You're doing meditation, but you're actually starting to very, very gradually experience more of the divine. Sometimes it might be through what you see. Sometimes it might be a feeling in terms of bliss. Sometimes it might be a really profound experience where you actually access higher planes and things of this nature. But ultimately, you're experiencing more of the divine. But there is also a part of you, which I'm going to call the ego, which wants to do everything in its power to stop you from doing this. And the reason being is because for the majority of human beings, I would probably go as far to say all human beings, there must be people who this isn't the case for, but for most people, they are controlled by the ego to a smaller or greater degree. And I'm talking about myself as well, because although I've done a lot of meditation and I've been doing this work for a long time, still from time to time I fall out of alignment. And even some of the greatest saints and sages there's ever been have said the same. You know, many people have said, you know, as far as I got with spirituality and advancing in that way, from time to time I'd fall off. I'd fall out of alignment, even if it's just for a split second, even if it's just for, you know, a moment. And what is it that's causing you to fall out of alignment? What is it that's causing you to give up in meditation, or what is it that's getting in the way of you experiencing the divine more? And it is this ego, it is this sense of I. It's this part of us that has been allowed to grow over many lifetimes, and it knows us inside out. And it causes all sorts of trouble when you sit down and meditate. And the reason that it puts up such a fight in meditation is because The more you realize the divine, which is, as I say, what you're actually doing when you meditate, the less control the ego has, the less need there is for the ego. So as you sit down and meditate, you allow more of this consciousness in, this divine light in, and you understand yourself more. And the ego naturally reduces. But the ego knows this. The ego is very clever, much more intelligent than most people would understand or would believe. But the ego knows this. So the ego will put up many, many things in your way to prevent you from doing the practice or to take control of what it is that you've gained. So this, you may have heard of the term spiritual pride. And essentially what spiritual pride is that people will do things like meditation and spiritual work. They'll get to a certain level of their development, and the ego, as a way of interfering with their progress and actually getting back control of them, makes them feel proud for the level of a development that they've attained. And it's not, when I say them, ultimately it's the ego that feels pride. It's the ego that feels proud of how well they've done. So often experiences in meditation only come, or not only come, but generally should be there to facilitate your growth. But in many cases, experiences in meditation come along and they actually enhance people's spiritual pride, which it kind of opens the door, if you like, for the ego to come in. So if you're someone who is new to this work, or if you're a person who does have a large ego, which generally speaking, a lot of people do, myself included, when you have an experience, it can be quite dangerous because you're opening the door to the ego taking back control in some way. So understanding this, which is why I'm making this video, is crucial, because once you understand this, you can manage everything much better. And so really this video is about understanding the fact that there is a part of you, there is a part of everyone that wants to get in the way of your development in terms of your spiritual development, your personal development. It does not want you to sit down and meditate. It wants to do things to make that very difficult, wants to make that an uncomfortable thing to do. So there will be lots of thoughts initially. That's the first, generally for most people, the first distraction is that lots of thoughts, lots of doubts, lots of questions, lots of also conditioning that comes up, things that we've been told by our parents, our friends, society. All of this will come to the forefront. Then, because the ego, the majority of the ego is resident in the mind, it is a creation of the mind, and the mind and the body are so interconnected, the ego works through the body. So you might sit down to meditate and you'll be really tired. You'll be really hungry. You'll have itches all over the place. And I'm not saying that every single one of these is always the ego, but I'm saying many times this can be coming from the ego. So there will be many things that try to distract you and try to kind of get in the way of your progress. And meditation obviously being a key for you to access the divine, the ego will work very strongly in order to get in the way of that happening. So being aware of this, understanding that, okay, I know now there is a part of me that is always going to want to try to interfere when I meditate. So when I have these thoughts of doubt, when I have these mental kind of doubts and fears and worries and concerns, they are almost certainly coming from the ego. In most cases, some of it might be conditioning or what people have told us, but normally it's related to our sense of I. The fear that we feel is the I feels fear. You know, your pure divine consciousness does not feel fear. It's beyond fear, but our ego does feel fear. That is the part of us that really, gets hurt, gets triggered, feels fear, feels anger. So it's important to understand that when you're going on this journey, because then you're able to recognize it and you're able to not give it so much importance. Many times we have these kinds of resistances. The other thing is the feeling like we're not progressing. This is a clever way that the ego works in order to stop us from continuing the work that we're doing. a lot of the benefits that we feel in meditation, a lot of the benefits that happen in meditation we don't feel. They're things that are going on in the background that we're not actually aware of. The purification of our consciousness, loads of mental benefits. They're not always tangible straight away, and that we're not always aware of them. I've also been told that the divine light that we allow in, sometimes we feel, sometimes we don't. So there are lots of things that are always happening when we meditate. We're not always aware of them. And so it's good to know this and remember this when you're going about your daily practice, and not kind of expect there to be always some grand experience in your meditation, because the ego will use that. If you're having a period that's quite quiet, I've had periods of sometimes a year or two where it appears like not a lot is happening, and then I'll have something bigger sort of take place, and it's almost like it's all built up, and then the experience has happened. But through those periods, it's very easy to allow doubt in, and to allow thoughts of, oh, nothing's happening. Maybe I've hit a ceiling. Maybe that's it for me. Maybe there's nothing to this meditation game. Just be aware. That's normal. That's normal. Sometimes it's a kind of test as well. It's a bit of a test to really see how devoted you are. How much do you really want to know who you are? How much are you really willing to go through? What are you willing to push through? What resistance and hurdles are you willing to push through to see the actual truth, to understand the truth? This is the pinnacle of the human experience. Think how much effort and energy someone would have to put in to earn £1 million, £10 million. Well, that experience is a human experience, which is a fragment of the divine. And we want to see the entirety of the divine. We want to understand the truth. If you're a truth seeker, you want to understand everything. You want to experience that totality. So that's going to take a hell of a lot of energy. That is, as I've mentioned it before, that is like, the Olympic athlete of spirituality. So it takes dedication. It takes that single-pointed focus. But you will have resistance, and this resistance is coming from the part of you that doesn't want you to progress. And actually, it's beneficial for you sometimes to have these periods of, a year or two where nothing happens, or longer in some cases, because it's bringing up this ego. It's forcing you to become aware of the part of you that rises up and says, nothing's happening. There's nothing to meditation. This is all, a lie. Meditation doesn't benefit me. All of these doubts that come up, it's giving you the opportunity to kind of purge all of this and allow it to be processed and let it go to some degree. And once you overcome that, you grow, you get stronger. So really, it's all about consistency when it comes to meditation. It's all about consistently sitting down, no matter what resistance comes up, no matter what thoughts you have, no matter what doubts, fears, anything. It's just continually remain equanimous, as equanimous as you can. Try to find that equal-mindedness where doubts, fears, all of these things don't rock you too much, but equally these big experiences, these profound, enlightening experiences equally don't build you up to this kind of overly proud state. It's all about finding that perfect balance where nothing rocks you, nothing too good, nothing too bad. It's just this perfect middle way, as they would call it in Buddhism. So really, this video is here to show you and to hopefully guide you to the understanding that there is always a part of you that will try to get in the way of your progress. Understand that that's the case. Understand it's totally normal, and keep on with the work. You're doing amazing just by being here, just by turning to the divine and turning to these videos. That takes a lot. There's a lot of resistance in just doing that. It could be from social conditioning. It could be from what your friends or family may think, or your partner. You're doing amazing just to be watching a video like this. And I'm backing you. I've got I'm behind you. I want you to really progress and experience more and do amazing things in your meditation practice, experience amazing things. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts or comments, please let me know down in the comments section. I try my best to get back to everyone. I've also, by the way, opened up a school community, which is a meditation and spiritual community. I'll put a link in the description. There's a great bunch of people in there now, and I've got a little video which kind of talks you through more about what's on it. But basically, I host various live sessions throughout the month. I've got a course on there, meditation course. I'm going to be putting up loads more in time. The price may end up going up as I add more things to it, but if you get in early, you get the earliest price, so it's probably more beneficial if you want to get in early. But I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks so much.